I think that, so I was just informed that we have a quorum, so we can get going here with our agenda. And it looks like, looking over the agenda, we have welcome, roll call, announcements. Does anyone have any announcements that they would like to make? Or have? Anyone?
Linda raised her.
Linda? Floor is yours.
Oh, thank you. Good morning. I had been talking to our veteran service officers about when veterans get booked into either county jails and or state prison. And one of the questions that came up from the women was that women who end up in corrections often come across as very belligerent, but one of the reasons is post-traumatic stress, which is extremely high with veterans. So it was suggested that could we arrange at both county jail and state prisons that one of the first questions at booking that gets asked is, are you a veteran? So I did ask. Don was able to get information back from me, and it certainly does seem to be working at corrections. It does not work at the county level, so I'm going to talk to veteran service officer tomorrow and see if there's anything we could do in Goodhue County that's simple that maybe all counties could do. So that's my only point, is that women in the correction system who are veterans often need to be looked at differently as well because they have different issues. There you go.
That sounds good. There's another organization that does a lot of work with public defenders and advocating for veterans in veterans courts. They may be allies for you to help get you in at some of those county jails. I don't know the exact name of the organization, so I'm just going to look it up really quick. But because I think that would be helpful for you as well.
Right.
Connect with them. Brock Hunter is the name of the person that does a lot of work with it. Let's look.
Thank you very much.
Veterans Defense Project. So if you look them up, they do a lot of cross training, and they do a lot of training for systems people, and they set up vet court around the state. Okay, any other announcements? All right, well, the next thing that we have on our agenda is conference discussion. So I'm not sure. I know that we've been talking about the fact that we have to have this discussion for a while, but I'm not sure where we're at and who's heading up the conference committee. So why don't we start there? Who's going to be leading up our conference committee or taking charge of this?
I don't think that's been decided yet, Corey. I think that's part of what we need to figure out.
Okay, well, who has done it in the past?
It was mostly me and Carmen, I think, and Paula.
There was a group like 2 months ago that expressed interest because I know I did, that we want to help. Right. I didn't necessarily want to be the leader, but there were 4 or 5 of us who.
Were you guys going to look at dates or something?
You had a task. We decided on the date, not a specific date, the time.
Mm-hmm.
Do we have minutes from that meeting? Was it last week or last month?
I think it was 2.
No, it was. I thought
was it last time?
Felt longer. No, you didn't talk about conference last month.
I can look.
Last month was the PRIA, the big PRIA dive.
Savannah believes it was 2 months ago.
Yeah.
Let me see if I can pull up minutes.
Okay,
we had talked about the spring, I think.
In the meantime,
2027.
well, Vicky or Paula, are you still planning on being part of any conference committee since you both have experience in running them?
Well, I've got all the folders on my computer and I'm sure Vicky does too. I think I'm happy to share all that. I'm not ready at this point to commit to saying I'll plan it. I think a couple things have to happen first. I think we need to check out the budget and decide if we're going to have a conference planner. And I strongly, absolutely recommend having a conference planner right at the get-go. Because we spent a lot of time before we got Heather and it didn't, once she came on board, then things just boom, boom, boom happened. So that's what I would say, that we make a decision about that. And then talk to Heather if she can join in, and then she can get in at the ground floor.
So who decides our budget for the conference, and has it been allocated already?
Well, Heather does the budget with us, but Vicky, you would have, well, I'd have it too.
I mean, like budget for the DOC, from the DOC for what we get to spend.
The DOC doesn't give us a budget.
No.
So how does it get funded?
The budget,
Well,
the budget is, am I talking or someone else? Sorry.
no, you are.
So the budget originally came from more or less like a donation from a fund that was kind of a grant that had leftover money, sort of. That was many, many years ago. So we've been just using, so it's not a DOC budget at all. The DOC doesn't contribute anything except maybe, like if staff attend, they pay registration. And they have sponsored things in the past, like a breakfast, things like that. But the budget really just comes from what we have left. And my concern is I think we have around $6,700 left. I'd have to check to be precise about that. And that covers the conference planner and not much more. So that's my concern, is we're going to have to figure out how to do the same with less somehow.
Well, and because we were behind the 8 ball in planning last time, I think there's two things. One, that's seed money for the next conference. It's never meant to be the only money that's used. So we would have time between now and then to start getting sponsorships. We didn't have much time for that. And then the other thing that funds the conference is the registration. So it's registration, it's the seed money, and it's if we can get sponsorship for some of the big ticket items like morning breakfast, lunch, those kind of things. We did not charge very much last year, so we may have to look at, what is our registration fee? Yeah, there's a lot to figure out, but I think you're on the right track though, too, Corey, is that we do need, is there anybody that has, and I just have to say again, I'm very disappointed at the, how few people come to these meetings. So with the few people that are here, is there anybody that has any interest? And we're gonna need, if there are co-chairs to chairing this conference, which I strongly recommend, they need to get help from the conference. So people need to really step up and say that they're willing to do it. But again, my concern is we've had issues with attendance, and it's no fun planning this whole, I'll just tell you, Vicki and I were like up to our eyeballs, and even with Heather's help, it
I think,
was.
go ahead.
Yeah.
I would say it used to be very fun because everyone on the committee, on the task force, especially the committee, but on the task force participated and did their part. But when you have to do the whole thing, it's onerous. It's a lot to do.
Where Angela has her hand.
Oh, Angela?
Hi, everybody. Yeah, I couldn't see if my hand up on my own screen, so I never know if it's working. But I just wanted to say I'm willing to help with planning on the conference team. I don't know that I could commit to being the leader of it, but then I also had a question about vendors. So at your previous conferences, did you have vendors there, and do they pay like a booth fee or a vendor fee that can be used, like some of that money can be used for things for the conference?
We didn't last year, so Corey and Vicky, previous ones, did you have exhibits?
I don't remember ever seeing exhibits.
We did at
Part of-
one. I'm trying to remember which one now. But we did have a few at one. But I can't remember if we charged them a fee or not, honestly.
Part of it would be, I wouldn't want to bring in people that don't have the trauma-informed, gender-responsive type of programming that we believe in just to help fund the conference. And so any vendors that we would bring in, I would want to make sure that we're, really vetting them. Because I know a lot of them are happy to come in, but I don't know if they're the kind of vendors that we want to be promoting necessarily.
And it's a lot of work. So again, going back to, we need people who are going to commit. So to do an exhibit fair and manage just that piece is a lot of work. So we'd have to have a couple people be willing to, and it affects the space issue. Like, where do you want to have this? We had it in the Metro. It's typically been in the Metro, I think, historically, or not. But you'd have to consider the space and making it easily accessible so that the participants wander through for whatever reason so that they can stop at the booths if you did that. So those are some major considerations. It's a good question, Angela, really good question. We typically see that at larger conferences, right? I think we had 96 people last year. So Angela signed up. Do you remember who else signed up last time?
I'm willing to be a part of it.
Okay, but it was, and Maya, I think, was on it. Who else? Tana, Nikki, Angela, Maya. Who else?
Lisa or Liza?
Oh,
Lisa.
and Angel did. Hi, Angel.
Lisa.
Taking a little miniature breakfast.
Angel.
No, I'm just looking at the comments over there.
Oh.
And Lisa's saying.
Oh, we don't see other people.
Yeah.
She'd be willing to help. Lisa Adams. So.
Hi, Lisa.
I think one thing, not that I think this is in tandem with, getting a crew together, but also just really talking through what's the purpose of the conference, what's our kind of like vision and goal for it. And I think that was lacking a little bit last year because of lots of reasons, attendance and all of that, where then it was like, okay, let's just go, let's decide on something. But I think if we're thinking 2027, we have lots of time to.
Do this.
Yeah, because I think we need to get more people bought into, why do we do it? Like, what's the point of this? Because I don't know if everyone knows, and we get to sort of lead that and decide that, but.
I think historically, in my two cents, I don't know why I have so many nails. It's to mobilize support and awareness for women and girls issues and justice involved, and to get other people involved in the work, such as it is. And so that's a lot of it. And then, we had our goals from the last time. So I don't know if anybody has their brochure from last year, but.
Yeah, I think a lot of it too is to educate. I mean, because a lot of the people that come to the conference are coming as part of a continuing education experience, which, sounds very practical, but I think it's useful to get accurate information out to people who are working in the field. So.
Do we offer CEUs?
Yeah.
Okay, great.
Yeah, I think in CLEs too, don't we?
Yep.
Yeah, last year.
Yeah.
And post credit. I did all of that last year.
And I think, okay, so my recollection of some of the, do we have the conference feedback that we could look at? I mean, my recollection of some of our own impressions of it was that we felt like the people that were there were already on board, and it was mostly women that attended the conference, and there were not a lot of men at that particular conference. And so then the thought is like, a lot of the people who were in the room, it was wonderful that they were there and we found a lot of community with one another, but we didn't necessarily reach the people that we want to bring on board, if that makes sense.
This is Angela again, too. I know I'm new to this committee, but one of the things that I've noticed is a lot of the work centers around women and girls in facilities. But my question or hope would be for a conference is that there would be some breakout sessions for people working in the community with justice-involved women and what the importance of gender responsive services are in those intersect moments in the system, because almost 90% of justice-involved women in Minnesota are on community supervision. And so we really need people to understand that working with women on supervision is different, whether it's pretrial services, whether it's probation services, whether it's social work. I mean, whatever you're trying to target. But I'm wondering too, was that a part of previous conferences? It's been several years since I've been to one of the conferences.
So that's a really good point. So last year we focused on girls very intentionally. And we did do a lot on the safety stuff, but there was a lot of community-based and just what's the picture of girls. But historically, and correct me if I'm wrong, Corey and Vicki, it's been mostly focused on women. And I think we need to do both, and in wherever they are on the continuum, both girls and women, from pretrial, all that kind of stuff, you know, post prison, post, you know, every bit of it. And I think that's what you would want to do is maybe for this next one. But again, we have plenty of time to get a couple people to say they want to be co-chairs and can help lead us along the way to say, what's our theme for the next one? And, you know, finding a spot, all that kind of stuff. That, and do we want 1 day, 2 days? There's just a lot of decisions once you can get going.
Well, then here's the thing. We have 60 minutes on this agenda to dedicate to conference planning. And so perhaps it would be good for us to use some of this 60 minutes to talk through what do we want our theme to be? Because it's like, once you have your theme, the rest kind of can fall in place. What do we want in terms of our theme? What do we want in terms of structure? Do we want to make it a day-long event? After, we could just do an afternoon too. Do we want breakouts or do we want to keep everyone together? The theme's probably the biggest thing, and we have a quorum here. So, I mean, maybe we use this time right now to figure out what our theme is as a large group.
Yeah. I feel like someone with the 2 months ago, I feel like someone threw out, maybe it was you, Paula, an area of focus as a possible, but I don't remember. I feel like, yeah, we had
What
some
about-
momentum around something.
What about something that is like looking at the continuum of women's justice system involvement, right? Like the continuum, the spectrum, like from, so that we can pull in. I'm trying to think of like getting the broadest reach right now to like rebuild some momentum and excitement around the conference. And that would be being able to make the case for why law enforcement needs to show up here, why we need probation officers here, why we need reentry folks here, why we need, right? So like talking about like the life cycle of a justice, like from girlhood through adult reentry, kind of like all of the points.
I like that because it addresses, you know, we can get at the trauma and again, raise awareness of the fact that most of the women and girls in the system, you know, arrive there from various forms of trauma. We can talk then too about like, you know, girls that are in the system, continuing in the system, unfortunately. Then we can talk about probation and community corrections and sort of the what's working, what's not working, what are other models, and then we could talk about incarceration or placement. And then, yeah, like the post on the back end. Yep, reentry and resources. Linda?
Hi, I just wanted to put a plug in once more for a possible theme or at least an inclusion of post-traumatic stress, because as we know, most women and girls who end up in corrections come from trauma backgrounds. And that includes then the post-traumatic stress, which I think is often not talked about enough. I mean, if you look at the continuum, yeah, soldiers going off to war, that's way, way down there. But from the standpoint of a young child or a young girl and women who come from very violent backgrounds or have experienced violence, that trauma is included within post-traumatic stress. And I think it would be good for everyone to understand more about it. So certainly for a breakout session, if not incorporated into the theme.
Yeah. Angela
Thank you.
Thompson.
Um,
Oh, sorry. Angela
Oh,
Thompson and then Angela
Yeah.
Brewer.
Thanks. Yeah, I think that the ideas about kind of this continuum and a spectrum is going to be really helpful if we want impact in terms of just informing people and educating people about what this process looks like for individuals, even pre-incarceration, during and then after. I think there could be a lot of opportunities to talk about the different ways that intersectionality kind of impacts people while they are experiencing both before, during, and after incarceration, and some of those touch points like, what happens before they're incarcerated, during, and after, and then bringing into like, PTSD or some of these other issues that we know are with these individuals throughout their lives. And it might give us a chance to hear from people directly, which I think would help that message just sort of hit home.
So if I can, go
Let's
ahead,
go to
Angela.
Angela Brewer and then Paula.
Yeah, I was going to also second that I really like this theme. Going across the spectrum, I think you're going to broaden your net on who attends, and you have an opportunity to really tailor sessions around pockets of individuals you want there or sections of the system. And I do think that Linda is correct with the importance of getting information out about trauma and post-traumatic stress. That one touches all of the different sections of the system. And so that would be a really excellent keynote to start the conference. And then a series of breakout sessions that kind of stay with the theme, but are tailored to the different roles people might play in the system. Because if the entire day is just one particular topic and it doesn't resonate with a certain section of the system, those folks are less likely to come. But if there's something that reaches everyone, and then tailored breakouts for people that are in community supervision, people who are working in facilities, people who are doing reentry, I do think that it's going to be really important also to include a section on risk needs assessment, especially as the state of Minnesota is moving into having the LSCMI be the statewide standard tool, and then using trailers for specific populations, including women. Because when you're trying to capture the impact of trauma and post-traumatic stress and the pathways that girls and women take into the system, the LSCMI is not capturing all of those things. And so for people working in community supervision, they really need to know the importance of utilizing a tool validated for women and using that to develop case plans. We're all still going to have to do the LSCMI, but we know that there's something that really will chisel down where our work is with women to help us have a greater impact.
So if I could, just to sort of put it into a picture, the theme would be, the overall theme would be the continuum. I like what you said about life cycle. I mean, we can wordsmith this another time, but the theme is the continuum, life cycle of justice involve women and girls. This has to include girls, can't be focused on one or the other. And then the focus areas so far that I heard, trauma informed, trauma recovery focus. Data, I'm adding data because we'll have some good data. We need more data. I added health, just because we don't think about that for women and girls. Intersectionality, I heard. Survivor involvement, survivor driven, and then I'm throwing in prevention, because if we don't put in prevention, we're spinning our wheels. So then I started a list of breakouts. I think, Angela, that would be a good breakout
For sure.
about the risk needs, but I don't know that that's a focus area, because not everybody, like community-based folks don't use it. a risk needs, it's more correctional. So that's the start. I mean, I think we stay on big picture because again, we need folks to volunteer to be a part of this planning and then the co-chairs, and then you can just cruise from there.
Well, so can we back up just to that question of the LSCMI and community? So don't probation officers also use some of those assessment tools to figure out what probationary conditions and resources should be provided while on probation?
Yes, we are required to use them. And that's what I'm saying is that in the community, every county in the state is going to be required to utilize the LSCMI as their primary risk needs assessment tool. And that will drive case planning for people on supervision. And so the importance for people working in the community with justice involved people is going to be able to utilize and know the value of a trailer tool that is validated and focused on the female experience.
Yeah.
And for the other, Angela, LSCMI is the level of service case management inventory.
So that's, again, I'm not trying to beat a dead horse or anything, but that's correctional focus. There are a lot of people who will come to this conference, and we want to come to the conference, educators, Violence Free Minnesota, mental health folks that don't have it. So I would say that is a breakout
Yeah,
for the
I'm-
correction.
Yeah.
I always support a conference with breakouts.
Yeah.
I mean, I just think it's then
Engaging.
Yeah, it's more
Yeah.
engaging for folks from a wide swath of areas to be able to plug into things that are most relevant to them, right? So we have like 1 or 2 keynotes, right? Where we're like, everyone's together for this, something in the morning, and then you go to a breakout or 2, right? And then you're together again after lunch, and then you go to a breakout or 2.
It would be interesting to see what some sort of a presentation for like law enforcement focused on arrests. When you are arresting a woman or a girl,
Yeah.
what is a trauma-informed way to do that?
Yep.
And investigating, what is a trauma-informed way to investigate? And even, I feel like they're the ones, when they show up on the scene and decide whether somebody's a victim or a perpetrator, that colors the way that they write their reports, and it puts that person on a trajectory that is really hard to reverse.
So we might be able to, with this kind of time frame, obviously, I mean, we might be able to get a woman who will speak to that,
Yeah.
right? Who can talk from that, her experience is a piece of,
Yeah.
a bigger.
Or even, I mean, if we're talking about trying to get people on board that don't typically come, are there any law enforcement agencies doing that part well?
We can find
Where they could come and talk about it?
Find
Because then it's like, you're not hearing it from, you're hearing it from the people that are doing it well in your own system. And I think that can sometimes resonate better.
That speaks to some of the feedback I think we got too, in a roundabout way.
Yeah.
Right? Paula, wasn't there feedback from people in corrections of like we were heavy-handed, I don't know, something?
We were finger
Oh,
wagging too much.
there
yeah.
were some, but then there were a lot that said
Sure, yeah.
the opposite. There were only 13 people that completed the evaluation. So I want to keep that in mind, out of the 96 people that attended.
Yeah.
Linda's handed up, and then Lisa had a comment too, I think we should go back to, but.
Okay, so Linda, and then we'll look at Lisa's comment in the chat.
Well, my question was if somebody mentioned that $6,700 would cover somebody to help us to the coordinator, but where would money come from for 2 keynotes? They're not necessarily inexpensive.
So again, I'll just quick go over and Vicki jump in. So the conference was funded last year from seed money from the years before, because there hadn't been a conference for a while. And so we have a fiscal agent, and RS Eden has been that fiscal agent. They manage all the money stuff. So they hold that. The other mostly the conference is funded by registrations. So for instance, Heather, who was the planner last time, she didn't bill us until the end of the conference. So once all the money came in and the receipts and things like that. And that's typical for the same thing with the keynotes. Well, the keynotes, we were fortunate because the keynotes both were funded by federal dollars. So we have, again, we have a lot of time to see if we can get funding for, like, those are big ticket items, keynote, to bring people in, right? If they're in-state, like Angel, then you don't have to pay for, hotel, well, you do, but you don't have to do airfare. So, and then sponsorship is another thing that we did not do last year, but we have time to see what we can do to get people to be really intentional about caring about women and girls and putting some money toward it.
Well, I guess from a business standpoint, it just looks to me like we would be spending money then that we don't yet have. And just from a
This is the way they're all done.
best practices in business, that just doesn't sound like a very safe thing to do.
Well, I'll just say I've done national conferences and state conferences, and that's typically the way it's done. You don't have all the money up front. So have you guys gotten in trouble before with that? I don't know of a conference that has. The problem is if nobody comes, boy, then you're stuck. But that's where, again, we have enough time to really reach out and get people that want to come.
What did the conference planner do that we had previously done ourselves? And if we have enough lead time and enough hands on board, do we need a conference planner?
We need a conference planner, in my estimation, in my experience, not only with this conference, but all other conferences that I've done.
Because this was the first year we used one, correct?
I don't know what you did in the past.
I mean,
We did it all ourselves in the past.
Yeah.
But again, and they were good conferences. So I think it's possible to do it without it. I think given the level of volunteering that I see in terms of anybody taking the lead, I don't think it's going to be possible moving forward. It just used to be very different in terms of participation. So I think Paul is right. With the level of involvement people are willing to have now, we definitely need a conference planner. Otherwise, all the things coordinated in the venue, the food, the speakers, their travel, she did all of that stuff.
She made sure everybody got their stuff in, which, there's just so many moving parts that somebody's got to stay on it. And yeah, it's well worth the money. And she was so cheap. My guess is she'd be willing to do it again because she really liked the conference. But if the task force wants to do that, go for it, but good luck.
okay, Lisa had a comment in the chat. Can you scroll up to that for us, Dawn? Here it is. I would also think that a focus on community members and how they can participate in supporting women and girls who are justice impacted involved, beyond folks who work professionally with them. Would that be beyond the scope of the task force? No, I don't think so. I think it would be a matter of finding the right community partners to come in.
I think that should be a focus area too.
Yeah.
So I added that.
For sure.
And I think too, if we are doing this continuum of care and if we have time to vet people that would want to set up tables, we should invite community partners and organizations that we know are doing it well to come and set up a table. And, they don't have to pay, but it's almost like we kind of want to promote the people that are doing it well anyways, right?
I think there's probably going to be two levels, right? Because it would be fun to have the Women's Prison Book Project there. There's lots of great community nonprofits that we could highlight their work, but we shouldn't ask them for money. They don't have money, right? But then it's I think where we have to be more thoughtful and vetting is if we were going to bring Angela, I'm thinking a particular curriculum, you've got these vendors who are selling curriculums, right?
Treatment providers. And
It's they would have the money to come.
Yeah.
So if there are some we really like,
yes.
right? that we feel good about. It's like, do we want to invite the people who do, like that curriculum that Jeff shared, you know what I mean? The
Yeah,
women
yeah.
in trauma
Yeah,
thing. Are
yeah.
there things like that out there?
Yeah.
That would have money and
Because
we would want to promote in this
Frankly,
space?
like, and if I think about like practical takeaways for like us as lawyers and for, I don't know if this is the same with probation, but I know it certainly is in the juvenile world where it's like everyone's looking for the right program to like send people to, but you have to know that they exist. And then we have to make sure the counties are contracting with them and things like that. So,
So we could add that, and so like exhibit table, so that's up in the air, we've got plenty of time. So it's not decided, but would like to invite community-based programs, that kind of thing. But we would have to decide on that, because if you do a call for exhibits, you're gonna get the people who want to make money, and they're not the kind of programs we want at
I
this,
think we
so
should put our heads together and come up with a list of people that we do
invite.
want.
So
and
you
invite
would,
them.
then you would need to say that, make that really clear. But again, I don't think that's a thing that has to be decided, because we'd have the group homes that are real boy-based say, oh yeah, we take girls, we do a really good job with girls, and yeah.
So what we would want to do, I think, is probably devote a task force meeting to that. What are our criteria for these, like, you know, come up with some criteria and then, you know, come up with a list based on our own knowledge of who we think would be good to invite, and then start to think about who else we would want to connect with to find these folks. It would be great to also invite the group that you coordinated with for defending women.
Yeah, the National Center for the Defense of Criminalized Survivors.
Yes, they would be great.
Yeah, they're housed here, but Cindine's in Pennsylvania. So they're under BWJP now, Paula.
Okay.
But yeah,
It
I'm
would be
like, I
really
would
good.
want them to come, you know, like.
Yeah, as vendors and as presenters, I think, because that speaks to the piece of how women end up in the system.
Well, and I think in doing that, I think that's a good idea, having a pretty big focus on who we would want, because even those groups then can also help. Like they have people that they could invite also to just attend the conference, right? Like some of their own people who work or people they work with. So I think that's actually a really good focus.
So what if, I have a thought, maybe it's a little wild, but since we have a long period of time, what if we dedicate like every third meeting leading up to the conference to some group conference planning, brain draining time?
I'm fine with that, but I think also we need to be meeting separately.
Yes,
The
I agree.
conference planners. And if you all just need, if being a chair of the conference planning committee just means you give me the names of who wants to be involved and I'll coordinate meetings.
I
I'm
think
happy
that
to
is,
do that.
that's the chair. Awesome, we have a
I can
chair.
do that.
All right, Nikki.
It doesn't mean I'm taking on 90% of the work.
So, in
Well,
terms of-
Vicky and I'll hopefully make sure that if
But I
that's where
can
it's
get,
headed,
I
we'll help
can
you.
coordinate
Great.
folks.
So
Do it.
Donald, do you prefer Don or Donald?
Done.
Don, how do you assemble your notes of these meetings
Of these meetings,
Yeah.
um,
or your
I mean,
minutes?
I go through the recording. I also use an AI to help me put the notes together. So
Perfect. So right now, you've got kind of a running list of the people that have volunteered. And then Nikki's
Absolutely.
the- Sweet, okay.
Yay, Nikki. She needs a
Hooray.
hand for that.
We can look in the minutes.
Okay.
Nikki is asking about the dates. Wasn't it like April of 2027?
That's the
Yes.
last I
Okay,
remember.
okay.
April 2027. And then what about, so do we want to brainstorm some potential venues? The one that we used last time was
No.
nice.
Can I
Yeah.
pause
Oh,
for a
yes.
second? Can we make a note in the minutes that let's do next, so these next meeting dates for 2026?
Mhm.
If we can note March, June, September, and December, the conference planning committee will take time here to
Mhm.
talk about, like, we'll do subcommittee work in the months, but every third month we'll come back to get big questions in front of the group,
Yep.
right? And to progress and needs.
I felt like similar to what we did with the Priya breakout afterwards, when we met in between, that was super effective.
Yeah.
Because I think we needed the time here, so we're all on the same page, and then we got after it for what, an hour?
Yeah.
so I really like that model.
So
I think
let's
it's the only
do,
way we get
let's
stuff
do
done.
45 minutes on these months are already pre-dedicated to conference planning,
Great.
knowing that the subcommittee is meeting in between.
Yep.
And we're gonna use that space together to be like, here's where we're at, here's what we need from you all.
Yep, I like it.
In terms of spaces, that's something that I think the decision you have to make is planner or no planner. Because what Heather did was she worked, well, we already secured the place. But then she helped negotiate. Vicki, you did a lot of work on that, and it was a lot of work on your time. So what Heather, another planner, would do if you can get somebody as good and as cheap, would negotiate all of that with the sites where you want to be. And she knows how to do that and then works with them about contracts, develops the contracts with them, the breaks, the space that's needed, and you don't pick a place until you know how much space you're going to need, like keynotes and breakouts and things like that. And if you're going to have an exhibit room or not. So I would say we need to make the decision about the planner or not, because then they'll work very closely with you.
Okay.
Well,
Put
do
that on the
we,
list.
in my mind, I'm thinking, so how many did we have last year? 100 people attending?
Yeah,
And is that
96.
about on par with what we typically have, or was it lower? Lower?
It's way lower. We had like 230, 220, 20 or 30, the last conference, pre-COVID conference we had.
So what would what would a successful number look like for this next conference?
Well, I think if we want to, with our theme and our focus areas, I think we want to reach out to as many people as we can. So I would love to see, because if you're talking, it's not just girl people, it's not just women, adult people, it's not just corrections, it's not just social services. We want everybody. Then I think we should shoot for bigger.
So
much
do we
bigger.
want to plan for about 200 when we're thinking about venues and things like that? 300? And then, so the problem, and then, I do this for my work as well. What I have run into is, you have places that you have to kind of give the numbers in advance. You have to guarantee certain numbers. And then if you can't fill it, you have issues. So so we need to pick a venue that's going to be flexible on those points. And we need to get sort of registration or pre-registration going like well in advance so that we can adjust the numbers with them if needed. I feel like people just, even in my own organization, I just think people aren't attending as much. So,
We have such a big pool of folks to pull from here,
yeah,
though. I think
I
300.
agree.
I think that's
I feel-
attainable.
I'm going with that mentality.
Okay.
We can get 300.
Okay.
I'm like,
That'd be wonderful.
So our goal would be 300 people.
hold on.
I
Vic,
think
what-
that's doable.
I do
I
too.
think that's doable. But the thing is, we would not be able to go with the venue from last year. Their max was like 150.
No.
So we'd have to find a bigger venue for sure.
I mean, I would at least want to, and we can have this to me is kind of maybe a subcommittee question, not a whole group conversation, but like, I would like us to consider possibly St. Cloud as a more central location. I think that like, if we're really serious about drawing people from all over the state, that we have to be mindful of that as well. And maybe moving out of the metro, at least every other year or something, if this is something we're gonna do. That's what we do in we're a statewide organization. We meet every other year, metro, outstate, metro,
We
outstate.
do the same. I mean,
Yeah, so-
our main conference is in Brainerd,
Yeah, so us too.
Alexandria.
So I would at least want to consider that. So before we
Yeah.
even think of venue, I think, to kind of, should we be centralizing for this next one in a different way?
It'd be great. I think you'd get more people.
Yeah, I think that reads a certain way too, right? Yeah. But. Okay, so Don, did you get the list of folks who were interested, or do one of you have the list? that
I have it, Don has it, so.
Okay, and
he's-
then Vicky, if you could send me maybe the contact for the conference planner, so I at least have that going into the subcommittee meeting. We can talk about it. Thank you.
Do we want to have an action item if the next conference planning for us here is in March? Do we want everybody to come with a couple organizations, like community organizations, nonprofits, so we can start? Is that when we want to start doing that? That
At the
list
March
of-
meeting?
Let's figure
Yeah.
that out.
I think that would be a
This-
good
okay.
idea.
I don't know what our asks.
Okay,
Mhm.
yeah, we have time, but I think putting out the ask ahead of time to everyone to come. Okay.
Well, I think we need to, last time we talked about, or was it the one before we talked about attendance? Where did we end up with that? Where? Vicky, do you remember this? Because we
Do you
really.
mean task force attendance or are you
Task force
talking about the
attendance.
conference?
Yeah,
Yeah, there
task
was
force
only
attendance.
there was only one person that had missed 2 consecutive meetings.
Okay.
Oh, are we moving off?
No, I'm just
from-
asking because I think that affects our attendance too for planning. Because we need more people too. Because it's not just, I don't think it's just going to be you guys. I mean, it's great. But if it's going to involve our meetings, which is a good idea, then we'll need people to be involved at the task force meetings with that planning.
Well, no, I think when we get to the broader task force, we can start assigning some tasks to members as well.
I'm also thinking since we have a good amount of time, we might want to consider, or the committee might want to consider putting out a call like you do for most conferences that have breakouts and have people propose, you know, themselves as speakers as opposed to us kind of reaching out and trying to get people. You know what I mean?
That's normal and we'll have time this time.
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, do we have any other?
Angela raised her.
Okay, Angela, yep, Brewer.
Just a real quick piece on location. The St. Cloud location is a place where we typically have our MACAC agent conference every year. And so I can look through like last year's cost and the projected cost for February. Actually, I think it's in April this year. And what that venue would cost, because it is a centralized place at the event center that has a large like group space for keynote and then several breakout options, just to kind of get a ballpark for what that price looks like.
Thank
Does
you.
MACAC get a government rate? Do you know if they get a government rate at all or a break because of government or not?
I don't know if they do, but I can ask.
Yep, that'd be great.
I know our venue is usually a huge line item in that budget. I also have gotten together some of the information on like what sponsorship booths look like for vendors or people, and I can send that out, or we can talk about it at a subcommittee meeting, you know, when we're thinking about whether or not we want people to be at the table and if we need an extra revenue source.
Thank you, Angela.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Okay. Any other thoughts related to conference planning? Or beginning that process, rather? All right, moving on
I
then.
do.
Oh, yes.
I'm sorry, I did. This is Angel, sorry.
Hey, Angel.
I usually would show my face, but I've been really busy unpacking because I just closed on a house at the end of this month, October.
Hey.
Wow, congrats.
Thank you. So I would like to be a part of the conference in any way that I can, especially if you're doing out here in central Minnesota. I do a lot of stuff in the community. I know a lot of people out here, tons of people out here that can help get you to that 300 as well.
Right.
But if any way that I can be a part of that, whether you need me to be a part of a panel, speak, in any way, please count me in.
Okay.
Awesome.
And you're on the planning committee too. I have your name on that. So sweet.
Okay, awesome. Thank you.
Thank you.
You don't have that. I was gonna download all this. Give it to you.
Okay. So we have the meeting dates that everyone sent around, or we have been provided in paper form here. I'm assuming they'll be sent around in another calendar invite with all the links
Yes.
and everything.
Absolutely.
Any issues with any of those meeting dates for 2026?
I wasn't off yesterday, but I
explain
feel
if
like
you'd like.
a lot of people in government were off yesterday. So is Veterans Day a problem down here?
Well,
Yeah.
you can't, state agencies can't meet.
Okay.
So yeah, that would have to be
Yeah.
a changed date. I just put it on there. as
Oh, yeah,
Oh,
sure.
it's a second.
Should we just
Conflict.
skip it? I feel like if we try to mess with the rotation, maybe we just take a break and skip that month.
Here we go. I've got the dates up, just in case.
I always thought it was a Monday. It's the date, yeah, it's the date, not it.
Oh, you mean,
Yeah, I thought it was like rotating, yeah.
Sorry, I don't mean to just bust in, but this is new to me. Are we changing from the second Wednesday of each month?
Doesn't look like it.
No,
Okay.
I had kept the dates the second Wednesday, but normally task forces and committees will see if this time still works for their individuals. And so I put it out for the second Wednesday.
Okay, that's awesome, because it's been like that for all the years, 15 years that I've been on the task force, so.
Yeah, so I
Okay.
guess the question is,
Awesome.
should we just cancel the November meeting since it falls on Veterans Day?
If you'd like me to look for some dates before you decide to cancel it, I can do that as well, see if we've got rooms available here.
Wait, November
should
would
just
be,
cancel it.
yeah, I think you're right.
we could cancel it. Like, we could say like main meeting canceled, subcommittee work. Like if people are on other committees, right, they can still meet that month. Linda has her hand up.
Linda?
Hi, thank you. The September meeting I can't attend and the December meeting I can't attend. It's the same time as an association of Minnesota counties conferences, and I'm on the board of directors, so I have to be there.
Okay, I think that's understandable. So if anyone knows that they have conflicts with those dates, send Don an email, and I'm sure you can keep track of people that in
Absolutely.
advance already know that they have conflicts.
And
And-
Corey, oh,
Yeah.
sorry. I was just gonna say for November of next year, I think we could just leave it open for now. And obviously we wouldn't be able to schedule that meeting, but if we figure out in September or October that it's gonna be really important to have that meeting, we could reschedule it then.
Yeah, I think we should just let's plan on canceling the November 11th, 2026 meeting. We can't have it. I don't think it makes sense to reschedule another one on a different, day around there unless or until we have something pressing that needs our attention.
It's also Thanksgiving month and Veterans Day, so, I mean, that'd be hard.
Okay. All right, so I guess I will move to approve the proposed meeting dates in keeping with our current monthly schedule every second Wednesday of the month, with the understanding that we are presently going to cancel the November meeting. Any discussion or objections? Okay, so that's what we'll do there. Future meeting ideas. Okay, so the Ramsey County Girls Report is going to be scheduled for January. We confirmed with Christy Cobbs on that. And then have we confirmed Precious for December yet? Or are we still working on that one?
I know Crystal was still working on it.
Okay.
So
And when does she get back?
she gets back, she'll be back on Monday.
Okay.
Okay.
So,
Do you have will you be able to follow up with her? Because
absolutely.
since December, will be here in a minute.
Okay, and then Hawaii model for residential services, TBD. I mean, do we want to plan that for February if possible,
We
right?
can shoot for it. I haven't heard back from her again, so I will ask
February
her.
if possible. Okay. So that concludes our business that we had to get through on this agenda. Did we have any other things that we wanted to discuss or talk about now?
I do. I'd like
Yeah.
to, I have something to raise, if that's okay.
Yep.
So Jeff's not here and Crystal's not here, which is fine, but I'm just maybe flagging it for the next call when they are. So there was recently an article that went out in the, oh, I'd have to find it. Is it the Spokesman Recorder? Anyways, it was from a male inmate about the use of unclothed body searches in facilities. And so I wanted to kind of get an update from Jeff. We haven't had an update in a while on the body scanners in Shakopee and how it's going, and are they still tracking data, right? Like, so I think just an update at a future meeting would be really great. And then my question for the DOC, and I guess for us, like, this is not clearly our lane. We're talking about the men's facilities, right? And yet the use of unclothed body searches, it's not that the issues are dissimilar for men, right? Men are also sexual violence victims. It is also a form of sexual violation or assault. So I just wanted to hear from the DOC where they are in getting body scanners for the other facilities. And like, what's the plan? Where are they at with that? Et cetera. So but I open it to the group to be like, that's not our place to ask as the Women and Girls Task Force. We don't, that's not our lane. Or can we make that ask?
One would think that the ombuds for corrections should be all over that, right?
Maybe they are.
And
I
maybe
don't know.
they are.
Who is the ombuds now? Do we have a
We
replacement?
do not have one yet.
Oh, did she leave? Oh.
Quite a while ago.
So who's the interim? Do we know who the interim is?
Is
Oh,
there
I
anybody
have
in
not
that
heard.
office?
Angelisa has her hand up. Angelisa?
Oh, it was just about bringing up a topic that we wanted to speak about in the future. If we were going to address the educational, I know we talked about it before, about the education for the youth that are in justice involved system or have been in facilities on what we can do to make sure that those things are being accounted for when they get back into the community, or at any point that they are receiving all of the things that they worked hard for as far as their credit and how that's being accounted.
That's another good focus area for the conference.
Yeah, that's a good thing to raise awareness of at the conference as well.
Okay.
That actually may be a great topic for you to speak about.
I would love to speak about that because
Yeah.
there's some lows and there's some highs about it, but it is a very difficult thing to navigate if you don't understand what's happening.
Well, yeah, and I don't think what you had gone through is on people's radars really in a big way. So
For women too.
Yeah.
Yeah, for
Vicky?
women too.
To anything that's been talked about yet. So if you want to continue talking about those other things, I can come in when you're done.
I think we should get back to you about your point, because you were asking like a question.
I just, I think because we as a group, and this was before some of your time, did so much work on pushing to get the body scanners up and operational and implemented in Shakopee, and then to ensure that they were tracking the use of them. So that's why, to me, I'm like, is there some crossover here, or is this just not our lane?
I think
Versus
we
like to
have-
make a request to the DOC to provide us with information on.
Do we have updated information on Shakopee? So
Well,
why can't we ask both?
Right.
Because oftentimes male prisons will get something, or they focus on an area that we
Yeah,
wish they were
equity,
focused.
right?
Yeah, so
Yeah.
I think we should ask for, can you give us an update about?
Okay, so
Yeah.
can we add that then? Why don't we add that to the December meeting?
We do have a member of the ombuds office on.
Oh,
I can elevate her to a panelist if you'd like to ask questions.
sure.
And Vicky has her hand up too.
Okay.
Was that the other thing?
So Lauren Bizzotto is on, it looks like, from the ombuds office. Hey, Lauren.
Hi, good morning.
Morning.
Welcome. I don't think most of us are familiar with you. Are you the interim director right now, or just an investigator, or like what?
Yes.
Tell us about it.
Yes, so I am one of the newer investigators in the unit, and I have both Shakopee and Red Wing, and then all local juvenile facilities. So I've just been participating recently in the meetings just to kind of figure some things out as I learn my position. I am not, it is not determined that I'm on the committee or anything like that at this point in time. So.
Well, we're really happy that you've been attending these meetings. Do you know what, as an ombudsperson, do you know whether your office has been looking at the body scanner issue at all, or unclothed body searches, or are there any, because I think you guys can make policy recommendations to the DOC as well, right?
Yes, absolutely. So I did pull up the article. I believe it's the article from November 6, 2025 here, the ongoing abuse of strip searches in Minnesota prisons. Is that correct?
I think that's the one, yeah.
So I will bring this back to the unit and just see if there is any anybody looking into this and discussing these systemic issues.
Great, that would be great. And Lauren, if you learn about whether there's been any reporting done on this, or like data collection, or if anyone's in communication with the DOC, and if they've provided you all with a plan, or whether you guys plan on providing them with some sort of a policy recommendation around this, I think that would be really helpful to know.
Absolutely, yes. That sounds good. I will bring that back next time.
Okay, and then in the meantime, let's make sure that we ask Jeff about it in the context of Shakopee at the December meeting. So why don't, can I just finish my thought, please? So can we add for the agenda for the December meeting to have a conversation about unclothed body searches? And then specifically, Don, I don't know if you would reach out to Jeff and give him a heads up, or if you want me to do that. Okay.
I can reach out to him. That's fine.
Great. And then so he'll give us kind of an update at Shakopee. And then if you have anything, Lauren, that you want to present on that you learn when you talk to your team about it, I think we would welcome adding you to the agenda to present on anything that you hear on your end as well.
Sounds good. I will get back to you on that.
Great.
Lauren, can you do an update on Shakopee as well? I know we're gonna ask Jeff for that, but I'd be curious about what the ombudsman's office knows about both, or women's prison and the male prisons.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, good.
Okay. I'm also happy to hear that you're working with the juvenile facilities, because I think for a while the ombuds office didn't have that focus.
Well, I don't think Margaret would say that, but.
Well. Okay.
Yes, I know we are sorry. I know we're expanding what we're doing in the juvenile facilities. I know the idea has always been there. Margaret's very, very busy. Our office is so this is a new position to the office. So at this point it is temporary, but they are looking to try and make this a permanent situation.
Right. And so where is Margaret going? Is she going to a different department?
Oh no, she is the ombuds person.
Okay.
She's still remaining in that position. I'm just an investigator. There's a couple other investigators also in our unit.
Okay. For some reason we thought we were under the impression that she was stepping down.
And you lost another investigator who was on our task force.
Oh, okay. Was that Luann possibly?
Yeah.
Okay, yes.
Maybe that's what.
Sorry, I'm just trying to wrap my brain around all the things.
Oh, that's okay. No problem. We kind of put you on the spot here too. So you're handling
no, it's okay.
Very gracefully. Okay, well, so we have a couple of other things to talk about next month then.
Vicki, did
you have more to add?
Yeah, I just wanted to make people aware, maybe people are already aware of a protest that happened at Shakopee against trans people there.
Oh.
Yeah, it was really pretty awful. And for them, for the trans people who are living there, it just kind of justified some of the negative treatment they already get. So yeah, and nothing we can do about it. Just wanted to make people aware that that kind of stuff is happening. I guess the efforts are being led by someone who was previously incarcerated there and felt offended that quote unquote men were living in the prison. So yeah, it's just very insulting to them
What did,
and
Vicky,
probably
what did
scary.
yeah, I bet. What do the protests look like? Are they outside, inside, both? Like what, can you?
Well, they're outside. And actually, regardless of the issue, I would advocate to never hold a protest there because every time they hold a protest, everybody gets locked down.
God, that's terrible.
Well, I mean, for them, it is a security issue to have all these people angry walking around outside their facilities. So, even if you
How
have
many
a,
people? Do you know how many?
what, I don't know, it was covered in a kind of a low end media source and they said like 100, but I don't really know how legitimate that is. But yeah, she's making it sound, she said that she was violated every day, this person, which is absurd, um, by trans people. And I think her intention was to convey that she felt violated that they were there, that they exist at all there. So but she made it sound like she was physically abused by them or something. It was such a terrible transphobic experience. And it, like I said, some of the people there, incarcerated people and staff, I think felt justified in their transphobic views because of this. But and like I said, I don't know that there's anything we could do about it
Well, I guess
beyond, yeah.
the
Go ahead.
question for me would be what support is being provided for the trans people that are incarcerated there right now, given what's going on? Right?
I don't
And
I
in
don't
general.
know of, yeah, I don't think there's, as far as, I mean, I'm in there 3 days a week, so I don't know of any that is focused specifically for trans or uh any kind of gender non-binary people. um I don't think there's anything explicit as far as education is concerned in our program. I have told students anyone who makes any kind of a transphobic remark in the room is going to be sent directly back to their unit. Like that's, we just don't tolerate it in college. So but beyond that, I don't think there's anything
So that
going
might
on
be
to
another
support
thing that
them.
we could ask for Jeff to speak to at our December meeting. Maybe give us an
Yeah.
update on what, if any, support services, counseling, meetups, whatever there are for trans women who are incarcerated there.
Yeah.
And like, is there any conversations or support given when they know that people are outside protesting?
Well, isn't it
Yeah.
a PRIA issue too? Did this come up when we had the PRIA folks? Liz Richards and
I don't
the
know.
good, I mean, that's another thing we should ask is what are they, like, this is horrible. I have questions about how they were allowed to do that on the grounds of obviously they had to be outside the fence.
I would assume. I wasn't there when it happened.
I wonder how long and if they had a permit but the fact that everybody had to be locked down is, in addition to
That's
the other,
yeah.
is horrible.
That's true with any kind of protest that happens at all there. Any kind of anything happening out there that's unusual, they will lock people down. I have an appointment in 1 minute, a medical appointment, so I have to go. But a couple of thoughts I had is I think in addition to support for trans or gender non-binary people, I think educating the rest of the people might be one thing that would be helpful. And two, not allowing fundamental religious groups to come in and talk about what an aberration they are or how terrible it is. So I think those
Yeah.
two things. And sorry, I have to run because I don't want to lose my appointment. So
Bye,
bye-bye.
Vicky. So should I add that as a focus area too for the conference?
I don't know yet. I think we need to
Potentially,
hear
we
from
could.
Jeff. I think it would be interesting.
No,
to
I
hear
just
from-
mean, it made my head go there too, that.
Yeah,
I think we make the bucket really big right now and then we,
yeah.
right, narrow.
I would think that there would be some sort of ban on fundamental religious groups promoting any sort of hate in
Reli-
these places, right?
So there's been like, there's people who know way more about this than I do, but there's been some recent books and research on so much of prison work with inmates depends on volunteering,
Mhm.
and Christian churches are a predominant source of interest, and like they're overrepresented in the
Yeah.
prison space because of their ability and interest in doing this kind of volunteering.
Yeah,
So
and I believe that.
yeah, I'm sure there are like parameters
Yeah.
around it, but
Well, it would be interesting to know, like, okay, what are the rules about their participation, right? Are they allowed, you would think you'd say you could come in here, but you're not allowed to talk, you're not allowed to spread, hatred, because frankly, like,
yeah, but like
how do you define
having,
hate?
yes,
I
mean,
mean, I
saying
get
that-
you.
yeah.
I get you, because it's free speech on one
God-made man
hand.
and woman and.
But on the other hand, this is, it is not, nobody has the right to go in and have a program at the DOC either, right?
Yeah.
So
question,
it
though.
could be something, because I would think like, they wouldn't allow hate speech against other races, right? And you would think anyone who comes in has to, at a minimum, comply with the, with, discrimination laws, things like that.
So Lisa Adams has a good point.
Lisa said, as a chaplain, I would recommend asking Chaplain Lee about the policies. She's excellent and trauma informed.
She's at Lionel, but one of the best. Wow.
Hmm.
That would be interesting.
That would be interesting.
She could do a breakout at the conference.
Maybe she would be an interesting conference, because maybe it is time to have a conversation about some of this stuff. Or maybe not, I don't know. I feel like in terms of educating the women at Shakopee, I don't know if that's what it felt like Vicky was saying or not. If that's not done in a safe way, that
No
can really
kidding.
stir the pot and cause a lot more harm to people. So it's definitely worth thinking about. I'm not saying we don't do it, but we have to do it very responsibly if we were to advocate for something like that.
Good timing, Lisa.
Conference of Chaplains next week, and I can do some checking. Oh, great. Thanks, Lisa.
That's excellent. Wow. So
And
much
so,
work.
Lisa, where are you a chaplain?
I think Dawn has to elevate.
Just a
herself.
second, I can up.
DOA. Okay.
Lisa does Sisters Helping Sisters
There we
out
go.
at Shakopee. And she,
Lisa can unmute herself now.
Lisa,
Okay,
you can okay, there you go.
can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah, I do the Sisters Helping Sisters program. I'm a chaplain currently at Amicus, but I also do other work out in the community as a chaplain, but not employed by the DOC, but very aware of the complexities. But I also know, as Vicki was pointing to as well, like the education inside the facility of how to navigate and engage with folks who identify as women, but also like there's some challenges. It's so complex inside, and there's not education. There's not space to like talk about. There's a lot happening.
So I think it's an excellent question. I'm not sure how Jeff would respond to all of it or what he has, but I know Chaplain Lee is so well versed in the policies inside, and she also is very aware of what I think in theory you would hope that religious programming wouldn't have any type of hate speech, but what they would consider hate speech as a volunteer versus what is actually happening is different. And especially as some of the religious organizations are more and more politicized by the current environment, I think you have a lot more of that happening. And it's something I encounter in group frequently where I have to stop the group to have a conversation about language that we will use and what we will not use, why we talk about a person. But like I have 15 women in a group. That's not the whole facility. It needs education inside for the women who are housed there, but also probably for the staff. I would argue.
Angela?
Thanks, Lisa.
Yep, thank you. Angela, go ahead.
Yeah, sorry, thanks. To clarify, at Shakopee, transmasculine and non-binary assigned female at birth are at Shakopee, is that correct? Not at like male.
They can request to move, Angela. There's been at least one transmasculine inmate who opted to leave Shakopee to go to a male facility.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Do we know how DOC prepped inmates and staff for the shift? Because they've had this policy for a long time that they would consider putting you in the facility that aligns with your gender identity. But up until very recently, they had never actually approved anyone.
It's a great question.
So the approval is the policy has been around for years. It happening in practice has only happened within the last few years. So I'm wondering, was there any groundwork laid for inmates I imagine staff got some, but for inmates, fostering a culture of a climate of respect, understanding, was anything done, or it was just
yeah.
Well,
Same question.
it would be interesting to see what that would even look like, right? Is that even a conversation in correctional facilities and Shakopee about community norms, group agreements, respectful conversations?
But
there's no reason it couldn't be, but
it has to be safe for these people.
Yeah.
But you're talking about in an oppressive structure in
Yeah,
general. How do you have this
Right.
conversation?
It's how do you even do that?
Yeah, I hear you.
It's
But
kind of
it is very jarring, especially we're here. Everything we talk about is about being trauma informed and gender responsive. There were likely some conversation should be had amongst the women from a respectful space that acknowledges trauma and gender before this happened. So I'm just wondering what that looked like, if anything.
Yeah, well, I guess we should ask Jeff that question too. Right?
Give Jeff a heads up.
Yeah, I think Don
Got a
is
lot of
all
work.
over that. So. Okay. Other percolating thoughts? I guess I was not here at the last meeting. Where did we leave all of the comments on our PREA policies? Did that resolve it? Is there anything that we need to do to close the loop on that?
What we said was missing was all the youth stuff, and that's where we're hoping that Precious from DHS can join us in December to talk about licensing and what they're doing around PREA in juvenile facilities. Because Liz was here and Tony, was it Tony? I can't remember. Anyhow, talking about all this good stuff they're doing and gonna do, and there's nothing for youth. So we need that other piece of it.
Yep, and we submitted all of our recommendations. That's all tied up in Crystal has it and she was like leaving on vacation the next day or something.
Crystal did submit that to the,
Okay.
yes,
Yep,
she
so
did
we're
send
waiting.
that over to him.
Okay, thank you.
We are just waiting to see whether they're accepting
Yeah,
it or
what
not,
the-
or see the final product.
For adults.
Yes.
So I think that we should keep that on
I agree.
as a future
Mhm.
meeting. Discuss the PREA policies as finally adopted by DOC.
Well,
Okay.
PREA for adult and youth.
I think we should ask next month because I think they had a deadline for end of October, which is why
I
we
think you're right.
went
I think
really
you're right.
hard to get it into them. So
Yeah.
yeah, whether they
So-
can give it to us or not, just sort of an update, I
Yeah,
think would be
and
good.
for an update, that would be good. So we can ask the DOC PREA coordinators for an update on where they're at with the policies and then potentially invite them to come to the December meeting to kind of share with us what they chose to adopt, what they didn't, why, and then,
I believe the DOC PREA coordinators have both said that they can be at the meeting. We're just waiting
good.
on Precious.
sweet,
Good.
okay,
Oh, that's
great.
perfect.
All right.
It's like one of the most effective little like tasks we've actually done.
I
You know what I
love
mean?
that.
We like,
Well,
like
I love it when we
even,
get something
even body
concrete going.
scanners, it's like, oh yeah, we were told we would be getting data like every month. So,
Great.
great.
Well, I was really happy that we were able to kind of rally and get, rather than wait until they have already made up their mind about something, kind of get in and get some input on the front end. So, and I want to thank again the subcommittee that met and put the work in on that, because that's huge. So, well done. Well, if there's nothing else that anyone wants to discuss, I think we could all probably just adjourn and get.
Public comment.
Savannah and
Savannah.
Oh, and
Raise your
public,
hand.
Nikki
Public
just
comment
raised public
on the
comment.
agenda.
Okay.
Actually, everyone in the public is already on.
Yeah.
So.
Cool. Okay, so Savannah.
Thanks. I had just asked a question in the chat, but I'll just ask it now. If there's a specific topic for discussion, like what is the best way to do that? Is it just to brainstorm that in the meeting itself, or can I send it at a time to Dawn, or?
Well, I mean, I think you could, we have extra time now, so if there's a conversation piece that you would like to raise, I think we're all here and ready to hear it.
No, I'm not prepared for that for now. And so I was just trying to figure out like what's the best way to do that in the future.
Like how to get something on our agenda to think about?
Yes.
I suppose it would be, a lot of times it comes from, bringing it up at one of these meetings during a public comment, and then we decide if it's something that we devote an entire agenda to or how we would proceed.
And
So
Savannah
I'm
is a
one
member.
of the members, and so I'm just trying
Yeah.
to understand what is the process for that? Like, is it during the public comment period that we
So,
are?
I think
supposed
you can do it anytime. You can send an email if you'd like as well, but
to- Okay.
generally we just
Dawn,
kind of
or-
talk. So if there's something, you could just throw it out there and, we just have a conversation about it.
Okay.
It's kind of now where because right now we're talking about action items in future meetings. So this would be the time for people to bring up things that you would want us to take a closer look at.
So can she also, she asked if she sends that to Don an email, but she could send it to Don, you and Vicky, right?
Yep, for sure.
Okay. All right, I will do that. It's not the best timing. I need some more information, which is of course on Friday, which is after this meeting. So, so I don't feel like I want to say more without knowing more.
Okay, sounds good.
Thank you.
Okay, does anyone else, public or otherwise, have any final comments? Oh, we did have that one person email about membership.
Yes, and Crystal is going to discuss that with the commissioner.
Okay, so we should probably just put it on the record here too. So we received, Don, would you feel comfortable summarizing it?
We received an email from the Carleton County Sheriff's Office.
Yeah.
Requesting a representative from their office or from the Sheriff's Offices Association a representative on this committee, on this task force. So,
Yeah.
the commissioner is currently reviewing the statute which created the task force. The statute itself does not identify what committees or what organizations need to be represented.
Yeah.
It just states that it needs to be reflective of the entire state. So it's actually the commissioner who sets up the different agencies and organizations that are a part of the committee.
Yeah.
So we're gonna see what, Crystal's gonna talk to the commissioner, see what he would like to do about this.
Yes, and I think my response, if I'm recalling correctly, was something like, I have no philosophical objection to somebody from the sheriff's commission being on the task force. We do have somebody from, we have corrections, which is sort of adjacent to sheriffs. But I would not want that position to come at the expense of some of our ability to appoint our members. I wouldn't want them to take away one of the task force positions where we get to appoint who we want and convert it into a sheriff's position.
Sure.
So that was my response, and I think we're just, it sounds like waiting to flesh that out.
Madeline had a good question.
So Madeline asked, did they share why they were interested in joining?
They didn't, they really didn't.
They
I sent you everything that they sent.
Yeah, it was kind of skin and bones. Linda, you have your hand up.
Well, I would say that the sheriffs do run the county jails in all the counties in Minnesota. So if you are also thinking of women incarcerated, that certainly covers county jails as well. And it seems to me we ought to be consistent with whatever we come up with, county jail as well as State Department of Corrections.
Yeah, and that was my thought, I have no philosophical objection to them being on the task force. The only concern that I would have is I wouldn't want it to take away two of our positions that we get to appoint with our discretion.
For sure. And I mean, ultimately, I'm correct in this, right? There's more women in jails in Minnesota than there is in Shakopee
Yes,
prisons.
I would say so.
So I think makes a ton of sense.
Yeah. If it's a person that is genuinely interested in this kind of work, then yeah, it would be nice to have them.
How many openings do we have right now?
We currently have 3 positions that are open. And the only thing that the statute identifies is that the committee will be no more than 20 people.
Yeah.
So do we have, as a task force, can we recruit for 2 of those?
Well,
If he's
depends on
looking
whether
at
there
the-
are positions that, what categories are open, do we know?
I know ombuds is one of them. I believe DHS is another one, and the most recent one, I don't know off the top of my head.
Yeah, so they're already sort of earmarked, if you will, for specific.
But of course, the commissioner is the one who identified those to be
Yeah,
earmarked,
so he could change it,
yes.
one of those. It would be nice if we could get an ombudsperson on the commission.
I know Crystal is working on that one.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, okay. So I wanted to just put that on the record. Any more public comment about, or task force comment about that? I mean, I know we had talked about membership, so I haven't gone through, I would imagine maybe we should put that on as maybe we should do a membership update at the January meeting. Let's add that, where we take a look at who's been coming, who hasn't been coming. Hold ourselves a little accountable for, attendance purposes, and then we can go from there. So we'll just do attendance and membership. And then our goal would be to have like the numbers of what open positions we have, and then of the people that are on the committee or task force right now, how many meetings have they missed? And then we can go forward. Has it been about a year since we had these new members on board, or is
No, I don't even know.
Probably.
maybe 6 months or so? Maybe.
When did we start meeting here? For the new year?
I don't remember, but either way, it's a good time to just sort of,
Yeah.
I feel like it was winter when we were all talking
Yeah.
about it I know it was winter when we were all talking about this last, so it's about time. By January, I think it's about time to at least, and take everyone's temperatures, and maybe then what happens from there is we send emails to the people who have been missing saying, hey, you've missed X amount, do you still want to do this or not?
Yeah. That would help with conference planning too.
That's,
Yep.
yeah.
Getting people.
Okay. All right, well, we'll still be almost half an hour early with our ending, so we were really efficient today.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone, for showing up, and we'll see you all in a month.
Bye.